Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Two Girls, One Doc.
One Doc.
It's your girl, BD.
It's Foreign's the fiance.
And we're back.
Sorry, before we get into this, I actually want to ask our listeners, guys, what cars do you drive?
Oh, here we go.
I'm not asking this like to be a bougie bitch. I'm genuinely asking because I'm in a situation where I'll be changing cars in the next like maybe 5 months. And this is the first time in my life I don't know what I want. I mean, I know what I want, like in a perfect world, but let's be real.
But in this one, in
this
economy,
crisis and inflation. So, guys, let me know what cars you have because I need all the advice.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm also not looking for electric right now. So.
She said, "I would like to kill the planet."
I literally.
Thank you. So, some housekeeping before we go. Before we start. The Queen is dead. I'm just saying that because I'd like to mark it. I'd like to know that I said it.
Was she not dead when we last recorded?
No, she wasn't. She hadn't died.
Oh, right.
Because remember,
shit.
we did the double episode. Yeah. Which brings me on to my next housekeeping point. Apple motherfucking podcast, yeah. I'm not going to lie, guys. Like when we said we dropped both episodes at the same time, we actually did. Yeah, but for some reason, Apple didn't want us to live. So it didn't drop the second episode until like nearly a week after we said it. Foren's shaking her head.
Crazy
I literally was so annoyed. I was like, everywhere else it was fine, but Apple just didn't want to. I didn't realize how many people actually listen on Apple until that day.
They don't want to see us win. They don't want us to get sponsorships so I can drive the car that I want to drive.
That you really want to drive. Enemies of progress. It really be your own.
It's racism at the core of this.
Racism.
It's all racism. The form in which my grief took was I started watching The Crown. And is anybody else having these weird feelings between their legs for the guy that plays Philip? I think it's because I've had like an overdose of him.
Philip again. Oh, Philip is the one that died before, isn't it?
Yeah, but Philip, not the real Philip.
No, I know the actor Philip was talking about. I haven't seen The Crown, so I don't know.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't start it. I just haven't continued it.
But you know the one I'm talking about that plays Philip?
No, is he famous?
The blonde one.
Is he famous?
Yeah, he was in...
let me type it.
Matt Smith. For goodness sake, Matt Smith.
Is that his real name?
Yeah.
Matt Smith. Actor. Oh, is he in your Dragon show as well?
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Please. Okay, so guys, let me explain. So I watched...
okay, well, it depends what picture. But he looks kind of evil, though.
I watched Morbius... like maybe 2-3 months ago, and like this guy's always playing a brooding bad guy, right?
Yeah.
So I watched that show, that movie, and I was like, I just said, I didn't say I wasn't feeling him, but I just said,
Thought I was feeling you.
Then very shortly after, I'm watching House of the Dragon, and he's there again, and he's a really, really bad boy.
If you see anything enough times, you become susceptible.
It's peer pressure. It's propaganda. Like he is laying the pipe in the House of Dragon. His sex appeal is off the Richter, and I'm like, okay. Then I start watching The Crown, and somehow he managed just to make the most unsexy monarch sexy. So I'm just like, at this point, I have to cross my legs when he comes on the screen.
Okay, well.
So guys, if anyone's having those kind of feelings, but also rest in peace, Lizzie. Like,
yeah, rest in peace, Lizzie, man.
I saw this TikTok, and I don't know, you can edit this out if you think it's gonna get us cancelled. But someone was like, "Oh yeah, like rest in peace, Lizzie," but people keep saying "gone too soon." Like she was 96.
Listen to me.
Let's say exceeded expectations or life well lived.
I agree. I'm leaving it in because I agree. And you know what? She lived a full life. What it was full of, everyone has different opinions, but it was definitely full, and she was 96 years old. Literally. And thank God. Do you know what I mean? Because honestly, like, she exceeded expectations. 96, you lived like,
she got an A star if that is
A star. You lived.
Like, I think subjectively and objectively she lived a full life.
And the thing is that, like, it's sad that she died, because it's sad when anybody dies. Like, death is sad. Do you know what I mean?
But somebody, was it you that was saying that this should be a celebration of, if she was a Nigerian auntie, we would be partying from like the day
so for anyone who's not from the UK, yeah, we are getting a bank holiday on the 19th of September because that's the day of her funeral, yeah. But listen up, yeah, listen up closely. Everything is shut. Even McDonald's is shut. I'm sorry,
you can't even pour one for the homie.
That's when I drew the motherfucking line. I said McDonald's is shut. I can't even Uber Eats McDonald's to help me drown my tears.
I cannot even pour one up in the pub.
You can't pour Lizzie, up nothing.
Even GP, I don't know what nonsense GP can.
Hella events they've closed. Someone was saying, fam, if Lizzie didn't know about the event, why are we cancelling the event? Lizzie wouldn't have cared if Boiler Room was on. She wouldn't have cared. She wouldn't have cared if the Rema concert was on. She wouldn't have cared. So what we doing? We should really be celebrating the fact, that we had this monarch for 70. They should be celebrating the fact, that like she lived for so long and she died peacefully, and there wasn't any car accident. No one was being chased by paparazzis in a tunnel. Like we should be.
Nah, and do you know what? Yeah, speaking of no. Speaking of this babe with her floppy 70s swoop-de-doo hair.
Who's this?
She knows who she is. She fucking knows who she is. She's my mum's bestie's op. That is not my queen. That's not my queen consort. She's not my queen consultation. I'm not, nah. Because I keep looking at her and I'm like, so
the side chicks are winning. The side chicks are winning.
You worked your way into being, she's not my queen. Like on Coronation Day is Diana. We're crowning Diana in heaven. Like that is my queen. Like, nah.
Do you know what? She played the long game, fam, and it played out.
It shows sometimes it pays to be
the side chick.
As Oscar says, it pays to be gay, it pays to be the side chick. Like, she played the fucking motherfucker. She was a visionary, or she is. She saw what we could not see.
Yep, sure did. She was waiting in the wings, and now look at her, flying.
Waiting in the... I saw another funny TikTok about Lizzie, but I wouldn't say that one.
Yeah, maybe we keep that one offline.
Yeah, let's keep it. Alright. Yeah. But if you are, have similar vibes to us, message me and I'll share it with you. But yeah. Do you know somebody at work, I'm so sorry, somebody at work, I was walking past you and she was like, oh, it's just so sad the queen has died, like I don't know what we're gonna do. Like she was just, I'm sorry, it's just so sad. She was a constant, like she really brought all of us together, like she made us who we are. And I was like, she made who's like
she made who's.
I was like, Florence, just keep going, don't even look back, like do not turn into a pillar of salt, just keep walking, don't look back. Because I said, who did she make what? Who did she make what, and when did she make them? Because I would really like to know.
I would like to see it.
Oh God, let's do this documentary.
It's sad when anybody dies, especially sad, anyway. It's sad, it's really sad. And R.I.P. to Elizabeth.
R.I.P. to the girl you used to know. Okay.
So now that's all over. So we are doing The Janes. Okay, The Janes is a documentary originally on HBO, but obviously we're in the UK, so we watched it on Sky. So it opens up with this lady called Dory Barron, and she's telling us that she had no, it kind of just gets straight into it. She's telling us that she had no other options. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go backwards. Trigger warning. This documentary discusses really polarizing themes like abortion. So if you don't want to hear about that or listen to that, then please, now's your chance to
skip this episode.
There are so many others for you to listen to, but we don't want to traumatize anyone. Dory Barron, she's telling us that she had no other options but to call the mob to discuss getting an abortion. Now this was like 5 seconds into the documentary. I had to go backwards to be like, did I hear that correctly? The mob.
But you know what, I really rate the mob because the general mob, I don't know
the family life, the family, the
not
loyalty,
just the family, but they really do diversify their income.
They're a business, they're a conglomerate.
Yeah, like it's not just killing people and drugs. Like they do abortions.
It's like, can money be made?
We'll do it. They do. It's admirable, and it just shows that like being, it shows that.
They're having these conversations over the phone, and it's like they're talking in code. So you can either get the Chevy, the Cadillac, the Rolls Royce, and the Chevy is $500, the Cadillac is $750, and the Rolls Royce is $1,000, right? So she picks the cheapest one, and basically it's just about ways to get an abortion. And she tells us about it. It sounds like a really scary experience. Like I think it's done in like a motel, hotel, Holiday Inn, and there's her and this other young woman. They're left there like bleeding after the procedure's performed. Like they come in, do the procedure, and they piss off and just leave them there. They have to find their way home. They go their own separate ways. They never see each other again, but they're not pregnant.
I wonder what the Rolls Royce would have been.
Exactly. That's what I wondered. Like, what are the tiers? Like, what's the difference in? Because ultimately, you're not going to have a baby, right? So what's the? Maybe probably is no difference. Probably just do the same thing.
Might be the aftercare, or maybe they'll book a hotel room for the Rolls Royce rather than a motel.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll never know. So let me get the intro, and then we really get right into it with the documentary. So it's the 60s. Welcome to the 60s. What's that? Is that Hairspray? That's Hairspray.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah.
This sidebar though, this documentary really made me want to be. Okay, this documentary made me want to be in the 60s, but then also it was looking at it from white women's point of view, so it looked great. But then not because of this, but it was just like very free. Like people were high on drugs, living their life,
it was fine.
Fighting. Like it was the norm to be rebellious and be fighting the good fight. Do you understand what I mean? Like
yeah, but then the fight that they had to fight was a lot.
I know, but then obviously this documentary was from the perspective of white women who. Yeah,
I mean, this documentary, there's a lot of white women in this. There's a couple black women, maybe one main one, but there's a lot of white women. So the focus is less. I don't know if this is what I mean to say, but the focus was less on like the plight of being black, which obviously
yes, and that's what I mean.
And it was more the plight of being a woman, which affects a lot more of us, which results in a lot more uniformity or solidarity or whatever.
Because whenever I think of the 60s, obviously I think of just like racial unrest, and it was so terrible and stuff like that, which it was. So obviously I wouldn't want to be in I think what I'm trying to say is that to be a white person in the 60s must have been great. I think that is what I'm trying to say.
To be a woman was probably shit, but then it was because you were a woman, not because you were white.
Black. Sorry.
Exactly. So I get what you're saying. So it's the 60s. Abortions are illegal in most of America. So we're told this by our first talking head, whose name is Judith Arcana, and she is a member of Jane, right? She tells us how like women were doing crazy things out of desperation just to not be pregnant anymore. And they essentially set up this little system where you can ask for you can ask for Jane and get a safe abortion, right? So throughout this documentary, we meet a variety of Jane members, and we see pics of them like back in the day, and obviously we see them now. And we meet this one black babe. Her name is Marie Lena. She's the only black one that we see or meet, and she was just such a babe. Like she had her afro back in the day, and she was just like, it just when you see all these like before and afters, and like also when I see like older people in society, I just think like, what were you like at my age? Because I feel like society really erases like older women. It's like, oh, you're just an old lady, and it's like, nah, you were probably a bad bitch, or like you were doing like bad bitch shit, or you were like out here, you know what I mean? You had a whole story and a whole life, like the same way that we are now. We're not going to get to 80 and then just stop like wanting to enjoy. Do you know what I mean?
But do you think they'll be in their 80s now?
No, they're probably in their like 60s. Yeah, well, actually, we can calculate because they probably were around like in their 20s then, right? And that was 1960. So 1960 was how many years ago?
Are you for real that you're asking me?
All these maths. Okay, so it was a while ago. So yeah, they might be in their 80s then.
Let's do the math.
My mum was born in 1960 and she is turning 62.
Oh yeah, so they might be in their 80s.
So they're probably in their 80s.
Oh my god,
or maybe 70s. Oh,
they look then.
I don't know.
No, I think they're probably mid to late 70s,
early 80s.
Yeah, then they look good, because I was going to say, if they're in their 60s, they're not that much older than my dad, and they look
I was going to say
like they'd lived, but that makes more sense. Yeah.
Quick maths. So yeah, Marie's looking great. We see a lot of racist violence and misogyny in Chicago. And there's this clip of Martin Luther King basically saying that like Chicago was worse than Alabama and Mississippi, which are in the deep south, which, you know, is like known for being hella racist.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
That's like where Emmett Till and them.
Exactly. We'll get into Emmett. So it's a really wild time, and it's like everyone is just deep in that everything is just fucked and everything is wrong. So now we meet. I can't see you, by the way. Why are you? Can you be in the camera frame?
I'm trying to change my position, but I was doing it quietly. I'll be back in now.
So now we meet Heather Booth, who was also a member of the Janes, and she tells us,
and during that summer I learned that sometimes you have to stand up to illegitimate authority, and sometimes there are unjust laws that need to be challenged.
And I already agree with her at this point, but then she tells us that her friend was raped at knife point on off-campus housing while she was in her bed. And so Heather goes with her to the student health center, and she basically is victim blamed. She's slut shamed, and she's told that student health doesn't cover gynecological exams.
Can you fucking imagine?
You've been raped in your bed. You go for
knife
help.
Point. And they're slut shaming you.
Slut shamed as if you slept with, even if she had voluntarily had sex with somebody. Even if she voluntarily had sex with somebody. Yeah. That one is that. But she was raped.
And you're slut shaming her.
And you're slut shaming her and blaming her.
What,
and
so
they're not even giving her the medical care.
In her bed?
Even if you can't emotionally, like, you know, or psychologically help her, physically, medically, clinically, you can't. You've done nothing.
What a crazy time. What a crazy time.
So this is like Heather Booth's, like, not even villain origin, maybe like hero origin story.
Yeah.
So it's really crazy that we're doing this documentary, especially considering the fact that they've just overturned Roe v. Wade. So it's weird, right? But we do hear some things in this documentary that remind us that we've actually come quite a long way. So this whole overturning, yeah, we literally have regressed now because of this, right? But back in the day, you couldn't get contraception as a woman if you weren't married. Like, women had no autonomy over their bodies. Like, one of the Janes says to us that they would go to Woolworths and get a ring and pretend to be married. To which I say, I didn't know they had Woolworths in America.
I literally was about to say that. That for me was the most shocking thing.
I was like, Woolworths in America?
Crazy.
Or was it that it was in America, then it came to here? Or what is it?
I thought it was a British shop.
So no, because when Woolworths closed down, it was so sad.
Yeah, everybody put it on their CV.
It was so sad.
In memory.
In memorandum.
Oh, is that what we say? Yeah.
So we learn about this doctor who is a doctor and civil rights activist, Dr. Theodore Roosevelt Mason Howard. Hella name.
What a name.
But it's like, you know, with Nigerians where like everyone wants to give the baby a name, so then the baby just has hella names. Yeah.
And it's just like with that kind of name, you have to become something.
Or a reverend.
Yeah, you can't then be like
a basic nigger.
Yeah. You do have to be something with that name. Yeah.
You have to, yeah. It's like manifesting.
Yeah,
this is about to be a successful ass child. 100%.
It's a strong name, yeah.
100% strong. So he's run out of town when his name appears on a Klan, the KKK. This is the Times, the Klan death list after he speaks out against the murder of Emmett Till. And I just wanted to say, like, just because we see these pictures in black and white, yeah, we think things happened ages ago. It did not happen that long ago.
They do that on purpose, though, to make you think it's been that long.
It didn't happen that long ago. These Janes are alive and kicking, and they were around when Emmett Till was killed.
Yeah,
so
literally.
What we're saying, like, this didn't happen that long ago.
The woman who even lied against Emmett Till didn't die that long ago.
That means that she has probably begot children who have begot children. And that's
literally
your legacy.
Somebody did a TikTok and they were like, if people who were alive during the civil rights movement, or when black Americans couldn't vote, are still alive, if people who were in the Nazi concentration camps are still alive, if this people are still alive, what makes you think that the people who perpetrated these things are not still alive?
Exactly.
Fuck off.
So one of the Janes contacts Dr. Howard when her friend's sister gets pregnant and wants an abortion. So Dr. Howard is like, okay, cool, you know what, I'm going to help, like, let me do a safe abortion. And then the word spreads, and then our Janes realize, okay, this is crazy, like, loads of women have this issue, so many women want abortions, they're illegal and they can't have them, we should probably do something to help them to have safe ones. So now we meet Dr. Alan Wheeland. He lets us know that he saw women do all sorts of things to not have a baby. Like, some would try physical things, like they would like put a stick up there, and like sometimes it'd end up like perforating.
Yeah, I heard about that in boarding school, like an iron hanger.
Yeah, people just like trying, but then it's like you're risking. You don't know what you're doing up there. Do you know what I mean? You're risking, like, someone would perforate the bladder, and then it's like you're really risking like death, right?
Anything up the Cuchilla area to me is so like frightening.
You kind of have to go for, it's like you're not even trying to like stick a tampon in there or like a menstrual cup, like you're really aiming for, like, through cervix, like you're trying to get up there.
You're going past the point where
things should go.
Yeah, like that's the no-fly zone. You have exceeded that zone. Like,
it's like freestyle, no speculum, no sanitary, nothing, just
like, do you know, like, literally I kept crossing my legs during this documentary because I was like, this is so like,
you know, when you have that Matt thing Smith, you're crossing your legs every day, legs cross. How do you walk?
Sometimes they open, but tusk.
Okay. Friends, the free out. Say, so yeah, no, it's actually kind of like, it is like you just shudder. Like,
are abortions free in this country?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I guess I don't know if the NHS does I guess if the NHS does abortions, then they probably are free. But I'm sure it's like with anything, you could go private.
I think you can,
because I think you probably can.
Yeah,
because even in sex education, well, that wasn't this country. Even in sex education, the show.
No, sex education is based in a like dystopian world. It's not.
No, it's in England.
No, it's not.
It is. That's why they sound like that.
No, it's not. Have you Google it? Google where is it?
I believe myself. I don't need to check the internet.
I Googled it because
I back myself.
It's not even in a time period. Like, it's all warped.
Do you know what? It's actually true because it's not true. I'm right always.
Okay.
But I get what you mean about the time, because it's like, are they in the 70s? Are they in the 80s? Like, what is the fashion?
But they have phones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's not.
Oh my god.
Yeah, exactly. Go and search. Like, if you search where is it based, because there's some Americanisms as well. It's like, it's not based anywhere. Like, the whole like high school jock, and don't they have like cheerleaders and stuff?
But where is it?
It's not based anywhere.
No, I'm gonna Google it. Where is sex education
based?
Set?
And set and when?
No, see, they don't even say.
I told you, it's
not. It says where it's filmed.
Yeah, it's not set.
No, you're wrong. I'm right. It says filmed in Wales, set in England, and inspired by American teen films of the 80s. Sex education setting is eclectic, to say the least.
I'm telling you. Okay, I'll find the article, because I googled this. Okay,
that's wild though. I kind of get it though, because it's just like, oh my god, I've never even really thought. Like, in my head, it's like 1 + 1 is like orange, but I don't care that it's orange because I'm enjoying the show.
It doesn't make sense. Some of the stuff, well, it makes sense in the sense that it's a show, it's a good show, but in terms of like putting it into a timeline,
like, where does it fit?
It
like
doesn't
that
make
70s
sense.
show is very much 70s.
Yeah,
like you can tell by the fashions where they are. They don't have the phones and stuff like that.
Them man have phones, and then some modern technology, then everything is like 70s and 80s, then they have some American things. It doesn't make sense.
Oh my god, that's so true. But then they sound British.
Right. I mean, I'll give it to you that you're right. So you feel good.
My mind is blown. I don't know if I can continue with this documentary. I need time to process. What were we even saying? Okay,
who got an abortion in sex education?
The
blonde one.
Yeah. What was her name?
Are you sure you're not talking about Euphoria?
No, because this was I remember it being like that villagey place, which is in sex education. Someone had an abortion, and then their mum. Let me Google it now.
Do you watch Euphoria?
Yeah, I do.
Then it's Euphoria. It's that
not
blonde
Euphoria.
jarring babe that got an abortion.
Who?
Is it Maddie? Is the Hispanic, the Latino?
Maeve gets one.
When?
She gets an abortion in episode 3. What season? I don't remember. Yeah, she does. She gets an abortion.
Really? I don't remember.
Yeah, and then Thingy goes with her. What's his name? The one that always has the backpack on. The one that's best friends with Shootie's character.
With whose character?
The main guy. The one whose mum is the sex person. What's his name?
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah, he goes with her.
Oh, I don't remember this.
I'm pretty sure that happened. Anyway.
Who was the baby daddy?
I don't remember. Am I right? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's not what this is about. Sorry guys. We're moving on. So Dr. Alan Wieland. Oh yeah, they would do weird things to not be pregnant. Yeah. So one woman drinks acid, and she has crazy burns.
I don't know what she thought she was doing though with that one.
But this is what I'm saying. Think about where your mind is. Like, in your head, all I want to do is not be pregnant. I don't care, like, by hook or by crook. I just don't want to be pregnant.
Yeah.
Like,
I get it. Desperation.
Do you see what I mean? Desperation. And he would see like 15 to 20 patients like this every day. Yeah. And then there's one bit where the nurse is like, they see women who do this to themselves, but also they see women where someone has done this to them. And I never thought about it from that angle. Like, imagine I'm pregnant and I'm happy. I'm sleeping with a married man or whatever. And then he finds out I'm pregnant and he's like, you will not have this baby. And now my life is at risk. Proper sad.
It's crazy.
Remember Dr. Howard, our beloved doctor, he was doing safe abortions. He gets arrested for doing safe abortions. And so they kind of just like skip past this bit. We don't find out what happened to him. He risked his life.
Released, but
did he?
eventually.
Oh,
he didn't die in prison. But then like the weird fact about him was, which was like, he used to like go to like Africa and like hunt animals, and like he had this room which was filled with like, called it like the game room or something, and it was just filled with like the animals that he'd hunted.
What, and then bring in a suitcase?
I don't know the logistics. You know, then things were different pre 9/11.
That's wild.
So it was weird. That's the only thing I was like, oh, you're a bit off.
Yeah, and also his mustache, but that's fine. So our Jane finds another doctor who we are calling Mike. He learned to do abortions from a doctor, and then he decides to go out on his own. Mike, I mean, we'll get into Mike more later, but Mike, he just seems a bit like,
he's just your quirky uncle.
Yeah, we'll get into it. So not only is abortion illegal, okay, but planning an abortion is illegal. So it's considered conspiracy to commit a felony. And like these Janes are kind of like, oh, you know, want to do a good thing but not really trying to be arrested kind of thing. So this is not just like, oh, I'm trying to do a good thing, there's no risk. This is risky business. Like they're really out here like putting their lives on the line, kind of, because they're white women. So how bad is it going to get, you know, that kind of thing. You just have to watch it with context, you know.
Yeah.
So mate, this next bit shows that like the police have always been a bit mad. So we see all these people at like a picnic, it's like a rock festival kind of thing, and the police throw tear canisters, and you see the footage of them like beating the hell out of these kids. Like they are all against the war. Which war it was, I don't know, but they're all like against this war, yeah. And the police are not happy about this. So one of our Janes, her name is Peaches, she tells us that it was a moment of radicalization for her. And I kind of resonate with this because I feel like in our generation we've had some like moments like this. So in the UK when
we've
Mark Duggan,
very unprecedented times. That's all.
Yeah. So in the UK when Mark Duggan got shot, and he was unarmed black man. When Chris Kaba got shot, unarmed black man. Even in Nigeria when they had the whole NSARS going on, that's loads of people were like, nah, this is fucked. And then America, like George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Trayvon Martin, like literally pick a name, yeah. Sometimes these things happen and it's like, it makes you clock that like there's actually a fundamental problem with the system. Like life is not just like fairies and roses. Like the scales will fall from your eyes and show you that like life is shit, and this sort of stuff happens, and you're just fortunate it hasn't happened to you or anyone in your family yet. So that's what Peaches is saying. Like at that time when she saw that, she was like, yeah, just because establishment says this or the law says this doesn't mean that it's right.
And even like sometimes you think to yourself, okay, I remember when all this stuff was happening and I was like, okay, I'm somewhat safe because although I'm black, I'm a woman. Like, not that, I don't know how to explain it, not that you can still other yourself from the situation because it was happening to men. And then like it started happening to women, and then again that's another wake up call, because you're like, yo, like it's not just like black, it's all like, it's literally all of us, like this shit is happening to. It's
just, you're just lucky that it's not been you.
Happened to you. And
then even in like cases like America, so for example, you can then say, oh yeah, well I wasn't driving fast, or I'm not in gang life, or you know, like I'm a successful entrepreneur, whatever. Yeah, when you have people like Ahmaud Arbery who are just jogging down the street, like you have to just remind yourself that like, look, like you're just blessed that it hasn't happened to you.
There's no recipe, there's no formula. It's just like that guy I showed. Didn't I tell you about that guy on TikTok that he does the like how to be stopped by police? Like,
yeah, you spoke about him in another episode.
Like fuck off, like fuck the fuck
it's
off.
Like just don't be killing people unprovoked,
bro.
Is that what we were saying before? Like just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you deserve to get shot. Because like even with Chris Kaba, they were saying that like, oh yeah, the car that he was driving was reported to be involved in a crime or something. Okay, so does that mean that you shoot the person driving it, or does that mean that you apprehend them and then find out what's happening?
How do you not even know he wasn't driving his friend's car, not knowing that it, like, you just, so that's it,
you shoot.
And I did, I thought
it doesn't make sense. And this Chris Kaba happened no more than a week ago,
and everyone's moved on. They've all moved on now. It's crazy. And I said, and they've all moved on now. Like, now all you see is the Queen's death.
The Queen, who was 96. Anyway, do you know what? It's sad when someone dies, but it's even sadder when someone is killed senselessly,
literally unprovoked
by the police. Yeah, ridiculous. But yeah, it's crazy. So we learned about how everything was about men. Yeah, there are these radical attorneys that help people who are arrested for opposing the war, right? They don't care about women's rights, and they don't care about the women who want to help them with their cause. Yeah, our good sis Marie tells us that she loved the Black Panthers and what they stood for.
I respected the Black Panther Party, and to this day I respect what they provided for the black community, a sense of dignity and respect Fred Hampton and Bobby Rush were friends of mine. But I didn't necessarily agree with the party's attitude that women were to serve the men in the party, which is why I never joined the party, because I couldn't abide by those practices.
And it's so funny because I was listening to this podcast about Angela Davis, and she said the same thing. She was like, there was one time they were at this meeting and it was like, oh no, men eat first, like the women have to serve the men. And she was just kind of like, listen, and this is what I'm saying, like,
it's giving Nigerian auntie.
You then are in this situation where, okay, we're all here for black power and black rights and stuff, but even within that, as a woman,
it's tiered.
Yeah, as a woman, like, there's still that, you still don't have that privilege. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, hello, you know, like, it's just all just a bit long. So our Janes let us know that misogyny is really for the win at this time. Even when they attend meetings, they're just always dismissed. And one of them tells us, like, one guy literally told them to shut up.
Yo, shut up.
I said, tell my man shut up. Like, literally, like, wait, so what did you say when they told you to shut up? Did you shut up?
Literally, like,
did you shut up or did you
nah? Oh my god, I wish a nigga would.
It's so rude. So there's this push now for women's rights, right? And we see this bit where they're escorted from male restaurants because there's segregation based on sex. Was it like, what?
Was that? I thought they were asking them just about segregation in general. Was it segregation based on sex?
Because one woman was saying that she was like escorted out of the restaurant because it was a white woman. She was escorted out of the restaurant because they were like, it was the hours were for men to. That bit confused me. I was like,
what the fuck are you doing in a restaurant that is men only? Like, if you men love each other, like, just say you're gay and like call it
just
a day.
love each other.
Like, just love each other and nobody cares. Like,
no, but there was that, you know, there's that I don't know who the author is or whatever, but there's that whole theory of like men are like homoerotic. Yeah,
I believe it though. Men are in love with other men.
With men,
fundamentally, especially.
But they're sexually. Some of them are sexually attracted
to women. Yeah, especially like men. Something is wrong with millennials. I don't know what it is. Yeah, the millennial men, they are all in love with each other.
Yeah,
like it's men that they want to care for and please and do cater to you and like grease their cornrows. Exactly, but you see, like when it comes to women, all they see them as is sexual objects. It's all they fucking see them as.
I think it is a lot more common than people think it is, you know.
Oh, 100%.
Like 100%. It's so 100%. You see, and I think, do you know what the thing is as well? Like, because of social media, like you have so much access to people's thoughts that you never would have before. Like, why can I see people tweeting and stuff like that, and like you're just kind of like, rah, it's mad that you think this way, and then it's mad that like 182 other people also agree with you.
Yeah, like for me, it's just like I wish I could. Like, I hate being, I guess, woke, if that's what it is. I want to sleep. I want to go back to slumber before I knew.
Yeah, ignorance.
Because it's ridiculous. Like, it's too much. I remember before I didn't know these things. Like, and I was just like in social area laughing and joking. Then I jumped on Twitter and suddenly we're hearing all these things, and then people are co-signing, and you're like, yo, this is crazy.
Co-signs, you know, because sometimes you'll see something mad and then everyone else also shows that the person is mad, and you think, okay, great, so
we're all aligned.
Okay, yeah. And then sometimes you see something and you think, is it, you're literally looking around like, right, is it?
TikTok does that too to me as well. It's scary. I'll see a TikTok and then I'll go to the comments expecting to see people like maybe dogpiling, and everyone's like, yeah, like I get it, like I just don't know what, and I'm like, what?
I saw this one, so what I saw first was a response. It wasn't a stitch, it was a response. I had to go and find the video. So this girl was basically saying how like this woman, she makes cakes for weddings and stuff.
Oh, I saw that. I literally saw that today.
So she was just saying how, for anyone who hasn't seen it, that like this woman basically was like, you know, she had to make a wedding cake and she forgot, and she had 2 hours to make it until they were coming to pick up the cake. And so she was like, oh my god, like she had to get everything done, and she managed to get the cake done in 2 hours. But instead of putting real flowers, she put synthetic flowers because she couldn't get any real flowers because she didn't have time, and like it wasn't as perfect as it could have been. And like when they were asking for the address to come and pick it up, she didn't respond right away because she was trying to buy more time and just all that stuff. And then the whole story was like, the whole premise of it was like, oh, can't believe I got it done, like how amazing. Everyone in the comments, oh my god, amazing, like you're so good. Even the bride herself was in the comments, oh wow, it was such a good time.
When I watched that video, I was like, is something wrong with me? Because I don't find this shit admirable at all. I literally was looking in the comment for just one comment of someone saying, oh, like, okay, well done for getting it done on time, but like this is crazy, like this is how you run your business. Yeah. And I was just like, so my wedding cake is an afterthought. And in the video she was, oh my god, like I just was, and I was just like, why did you think this was I mean, and it has like 14 million views, so
I mean, more power to you, but I literally that's one of the situations where I thought, wow, like, am I a crazy person?
Is something wrong with me?
Is something wrong with me?
I
am
watched
I
that
just
video
bad vibes?
and I was like, nah, this is not right.
And she didn't book her wedding cake with you a week ago. She would have been booked it.
And also that bride spent the exact same money as somebody whose cake you took the time and did
exactly. I thought of you. I was going to send it to you, but I didn't want to trigger you. I was like, please, let's not add wedding stress.
Luckily, the venue is making the cake.
That's it. It only has to get from the kitchen to the... Yeah.
I don't want to... Bro, I don't even want to... Yeah.
That was one of the times when I just thought, yeah, that's mad. But, yeah, we see loads of women getting catcalled in the street. So much so, actually, that they have to get picked up and taken to work by, like, their other friends because there's just... The catcalling is mad. So we hear the personal story of one of our Janes. She's married to this man for, like, a year. Her husband is in grad school, and so she's the sole earner of the household. So during this time, she gets pregnant. And it's not like now where you can kind of like work, you know, then take maternity leave if you like at 8 months and then come back. That only happens to us now because of what these men did back in their generation.
Who's working till they're 8 months pregnant?
I remember I've worked with women who are like busted, like big, like the baby's been kicking and that.
Like who's doing that shit?
Not I. Surely not I.
I'm on maternity leave from conception, bro. Like
if you have to work, you have to work. Like what? So what's this baby gonna eat?
From womb, you better start working.
Listen, it's not ideal, but if you have to work,
you better do like Rihanna and work. I am not 8 months. I can't even imagine getting up to drive to that office there. No, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. If you have to, boy.
I guess if you have to, you have to. Like my mom,
it's not ideal.
Yeah, my mom
did
nobody
it. Wants to do that.
Yeah, and she got trained and stuff. But I am tired now. Yeah, and my womb is empty. Imagine then. Nah,
it's crazy. But yeah, back then you couldn't even work for maternity.
You couldn't even think of being pregnant.
If you were pregnant, you couldn't work. Yeah, and if you had small kids at home, no one's trying to hire you. So she was like, "Listen, I can't have this baby right now. Like, I'm the sole earner. This doesn't make any sense." So then she tells us about her experience.
I was told ahead of time, he might ask you for a kiss. He might ask you to. He might ask to hug you or cuddle you or blah, 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 I don't know what. Not all. I was terrified. I got on the table, my feet went into the stirrups. It was all done without anesthesia because I had to be able to get up and walk out of there as if nothing had happened. And I did.
And so she's terrified, understandably. And this is why, like, abortion being illegal is really scary because any quack here can take advantage of these vulnerable women. For money. Later on in the documentary, we hear about like doctors and abortionists who would make sexual advances or refuse to do the abortion, like if they didn't agree to have sex with them after. And it's just like this is what you leave space for when you like when you criminalize things like abortion.
I wrote abortionist in this like early on. In my notes, but I didn't know it was a word. I was like, "Oh, you quirky bitch! You made up a word."
Look at you. Listen, what's your dictionary? I was listening to one of our old episodes, and you were like, "Yeah, you're going to write your dictionary."
Oh yeah,
so we're still waiting on that.
Yeah, we're still waiting. And then I swiftly found out that it's actually really a word. So
yeah, it's a word. Yeah,
I didn't know.
You made it though. I think you made it.
Okay, yeah.
And then they put it in the dictionary.
So. Okay, yeah, and then they put it in the documentary. Yeah, it's kind of like Okay, cool.
Yeah, kind of like everything else that you said.
Yeah.
So many women are having illegal abortions. So these Janes, you know, they meet and they're like, yeah, this is basically the inception. Like this is them actually starting to do it. Yeah. They start placing ads in the newspaper for abortion counselling and tell them to ask for Jane because, quote, no one's called Jane anymore and it's a nice simple name.
I've never actually met a Jane. So yeah, that's true.
I actually did today, one of my patients, but she's that age.
She must be Queen's mate. So
a lot of them are. I had a patient today who was 96.
Yeah,
and I was like, you and Lizzie went to school together.
Yeah, that's the Queen's flipping playmate. Like,
literally besties.
But this is why this conversation about reasons behind it. Like, I remember having conversations with someone, and they were like, that they don't really know where they stand about like on abortions, but like I guess if a woman's life is at risk, and I was like, no, if a woman doesn't want to be pregnant, that's the reason for an abortion. Like, and this scenario here, like she has a perfectly good reason to not be. It doesn't matter if her life is at risk or it's not.
Exactly.
It's not convenient.
She doesn't have to die. She doesn't have to have been raped.
Yeah, it's not convenient for her. Like, and that's okay.
If you don't know where you stand, it's like no one is pro-abortion. Yeah, everyone is pro. Well, not everyone, but you're pro-choice. It's like, I just believe that you should be able to make the decision.
Yeah.
If you want to have the baby, have the baby. Cool. I'm not mad at you for doing that. If you don't want to have the baby, then don't have the baby. I'm not mad at you for doing that.
Yeah.
But you should be able to make the decision.
Exactly. And that is the thing.
Like, how can you tell me what to do with my body?
own body? Like, therein is the essence of the truth. Like, nobody is like, oh, like, yeah, let's the quota for today is 1,000 abortions. Like, nobody wants.
Exactly.
Like, do you know what I mean?
Pushing it.
No
Like,
one is pushing it.
Fuck that kid. No one's saying that.
No one is saying that. But what we're saying is that I cannot imagine someone coming and telling me that I have to. And like, people talk about, oh, like being pregnant, yeah, like because you see bare people do it and it's fine, you're putting your life at risk.
It's a really big deal.
Literally.
And the most annoying thing is like, it would still be shit if women were making these laws and stuff, but like, you, a man who will never and has never been pregnant a day in his life, are telling me, oh, just have the baby.
That's how the other day my man called me and he was like, I was like, I'm tired, I need to go. And he was like, why? And I was like, I've got my period, I'm tired. And I was like, oh, but like, it's just a natural thing. Like, I said, oh,
if I
fucking slap, I said to me, I'm sorry, when was the last time you bled from your vagina and you lost
7 days and 7 nights?
How much blood and your hormones were raging? Pray tell. Like, listen, so men, imagine a man like, and my man is not even like ignorant of the worst, yeah. But imagine a man who knows absolutely fuck all about like he might understand the science behind it because my man's a doctor, but to know the feeling of what it feels like,
experience. They don't
and
get
you're
it.
making laws.
I had to say to my man, like, listen, yeah, when I'm on my period, like, it's a lot. I was like, it's a lot. It's exhausting. It's actually exhausting. And then, guys, if periods freak you out, fast forward like a minute, yeah. So I literally was like, I started using the menstrual cup, yeah.
Oh, are you still using that?
Yeah, sometimes it leaks and stuff, but like, it's actually pretty good. Anyway, so I was like to him one time, I was like, I put it in the evening, in the night, went to bed, woke up, and in the morning I was like, do you want to see how much blood that I've lost in this overnight, yeah? And then he was like, yeah, let me see. I showed it to him, yeah. This guy was like, what the fuck? I was like,
okay,
you were sleeping, me, I was losing blood.
Iron levels dropping left, right and centre.
Left, right, centre.
So imagine these men coming together and saying, oh, let's make a law around periods. But that's the reality. That's what it's like when they make laws around, like, you're making a law about women carrying like babies and stuff like that, talking about the sanctity of like the family and all whatnot. But like, what family are you talking about? Like, what are you fucking you don't carry this pregnancy. You don't know fuck all, right? Some of these men are even the men. Some of these lawmakers are even the men. One of the guys that decided, he has like how many sexual assault allegations like racked up against him. Like, he's probably the first one that would get a girl pregnant and ask her to have an abortion himself.
And this is what I'm saying. I just think that's the thing. Everybody should be able to choose. Like, just be able to choose.
Yeah, just have that autonomy.
Yeah.
This is not Gilead.
Oh my god. Under his eye. May the Lord open.
Yo, when is the next season coming out? I need some like trauma. Like, since please, Black Mirror's not coming back.
I'm sorry, have you not been watching UK? Have you not been watching UK?
This final season of UK.
The final season.
Crazy. It's going on.
Have you not? No. So in the whole Jane situation, the whole setup, women would have to write their details on these cards. Their name, their age, how far along they were. And you had like just a range of women who were 16, you had police women, you had daughters of policemen, you had women with kids, women without kids, married, unmarried, like loads of women, which just shows like the range of reasons that a woman may want to have an abortion. So the Janes do counsel them before the abortion. They tell them everything they need to know. And the Janes make a really good point that I love, that we kind of just made.
We would really try to make clear to them they didn't have to justify themselves.
Their reason for having an abortion was their reason. I was not there to pass judgment.
They didn't have to justify themselves. Like, a lot of them would be like, oh, you know, I've got a scholarship, like, I can't have a baby now. And it's like, sis, it doesn't matter if you don't have a scholarship. It doesn't matter if you have the perfect family.
It doesn't matter if you're selling crack.
The dog. It doesn't matter.
Like,
It doesn't matter.
Or cooch. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you have made this decision, because I can't imagine it's an easy decision to make to have an abortion. Like, you've sat down and you've thought about that, right? And you've made a decision, and it's a hard decision that you've made.
And it's a medical
don't feel
procedure.
Like it's me that you have to tell. Yeah, don't feel like it's me you have to justify it to.
Yeah, it's not even forget like the sentiment of, oh, like there's a life growing inside of me. It's a medical procedure you're putting yourself through, and any vaginal medical procedures are
many
just
of them interventions. Kai God.
Oh,
even smear test. I'm telling you, it's only this year that I have been okay. I didn't have a traumatized or traumatic experience.
Oh, but remember when I had my thing?
I remember
that. Guys, I literally had
that one. I crossed my legs.
I had a
biopsy.
Was it biopsy? But they cut out a bit of my uterus. I went back to my car after, and not from pain. I actually cried from trauma. It's the one of the worst things I've ever experienced. It's so. Yeah, nah. Yeah. Oh, just think about it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I feel like as women, there's just so many medical, and this is why I feel like ultimately, women. I know they say women are socialized or whatever. Just by way of our bodies and the stuff we have to go through, we literally just get on with it.
Yeah.
You get your period one day when you're 12 or 13, and you just crack on.
And from then on, you just
life is normal forever.
Literally.
Then you have your smear test. You just crack on, get on with it.
Then you have
any
a baby.
gynecological, whatever. You just.
One woman was talking about 3rd-degree tears today on her on TikTok.
What tears? What during childbirth?
Tears.
Yeah, the tears would come after the tears.
Right. Childbirth, and she was saying that for a month she couldn't sit down. She tore from her V to her A. I've heard
that.
Because she was talking
about
you
look at the baby and then what? Oh, it makes it all better. Does it though?
She was talking about C-section versus birth, vaginal.
She had what?
She was talking about a C-section versus vaginal, just
she's had both.
She's had both, so she was doing comparative.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wow. I pray for. I think I'll have a good delivery, because God knows I can't hack not. So I will, because then I just wouldn't be able to hack it. So what would happen? My worst fear is hearing you're too far dilated for the epidural.
So you give me that epidural.
Mm-hmm. I said, if you don't give me this thing now, I'm dying here. So you pick your poison. Nah. It's crazy.
It's too much to consider right now. I can't. I don't have the mental capacity for this conversation. So after counselling, the ladies go to what they call the front. I really like the way that they named stuff, because it's very obscure. If their phone lines were tapped, you wouldn't really know. So they go to the front, which is the waiting area, and you could bring moral support, your children, your sister, your husband, whatever. Yeah. Where they did the actual abortion is called the place, right? Mm-hmm. So they have them separate, which is smart, because you know, if they catch you at the front, you can just say you're just chilling. Do you know what I mean? So you get driven by one of the Janes from the front to the place.
To the bank.
Now they had to charge to bake. So now they had to charge women, because abortions cost money. But they didn't have a fixed fee. They just encouraged them to pay as much as they could, so that they could cover, women who didn't have enough.
Yeah.
And I liked this, because there's all, like we said in the beginning, all types of bread, all types of women that needed abortions, and maybe some are low income, some are high income, and if you can afford to pay a bit more, just pay a bit more, and then you could,
your sisters.
We stand together.
That's what it's all about. Helping your sis through her own abortion.
Exactly. So remember Mike is a doctor. He does abortions. Yeah, so he does this not for the love, but for the money. We'll get into that. So he does this he does this for the money, right? And he's telling us he makes 4, 5, 6 times more doing this than when he was doing contracting or construction or whatever it was that he was doing. Yeah, he's just such weird vibes. I want to say he's trash, but then also he's just a man of the time, and also he's just weird. He's just a weird guy.
He's just quirky.
I don't know. He's bad vibes. Marie agrees, because Marie is
bad vibes.
He's just at least weird vibes. Maybe they're not bad, but they're definitely weird. Yeah.
I thought he was a blowhard, sort of a con man and a showman and a wise guy. But I also thought he had a heart.
But she also says, you know, he's able to put these women at ease, and he did treat them well, which at this time was a bonus, because he was doing that.
That's why I'm like, he probably was a good guy. Like, he treated them with dignity.
I think he was just a bit weird, and he just was very money hungry, and he just saw this as like, I mean, yeah, I don't know, he's just weird. We learn later in the documentary, but I'm going to say it now just for concision. So this guy was not a doctor. Yeah, he was an abortionist, which we know Forenz has, you know,
my term that I coined. Yeah,
thank you. And so he says to us, he was like, oh, I never told anyone that I was a doctor.
Maybe they thought I was a doctor. I have no idea what they thought. I'm not sure if that ever came up. Maybe it did, but I never told anybody I was a doctor.
But your code name was?
Dr. Kaplan.
It's like, okay, so did you tell people you were a doctor? Yes, you did. Or did you at least insinuate, or you didn't correct them if they assumed that you were a doctor? So can you really blame us for thinking you're a doctor when you said, hi, I'm Dr. Kaplan?
Literally.
Like, anyway, we see clips of this interview given by Jodie and Ruth, who are also Jane members. And Jodie is like, you know, we had an obligation to disrespect a law that disrespected women. And I love that line, because I was just like 100%. Because anything can be a law. These guys in the Senate, or the whatever is the law out there, they would just say, okay, cool, do you know what? It's actually now illegal to eat mayonnaise. And then that could be passed into law. And so now if you eat mayonnaise, is it wrong to eat mayonnaise? Is it morally wrong to eat mayonnaise?
I'm finna eat my mayo.
So now I'm breaking the law. Now I can go to jail for having mayonnaise. Tuna mayo. That's it. Locked up. They won't let me out.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But we touched on the issue of men controlling women's bodies. We've kind of spoken about this already. But back then, about 95% of OBGYNs are men. And it's just crazy that, like, yes, you have this clinical knowledge, but you will never understand because you're not a woman. And although some of these doctors were against abortions and wouldn't do them, some of them would give the women Jane's number so that they could get it done safely, which is like, do you know what I mean? Like, fine, a compromise. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you don't want to do it. That's fine. That's your choice as well. But you headed them in the right direction rather than, like, you know, reporting them to the police like some bitches do later on. Anyway, we get a bit of history about how Catholic Chicago is, and then we get into the Chicago Area Clergy Consultation Service, who are in support of women's right to choose, not of abortions, of women's right to choose, like we said earlier. And they're made up of rabbis and priests, etc. And it's so funny because I actually listened to, I think it was an episode of Criminal the other day about this Clergy Consultation Service.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It went into a bit more detail about like them, but I think the documentary did a good job like covering it as well. So this is random as hell, but Playboy gives the Clergy Consultation Service money to support their cause. And yeah, they're kind of going back and forth like, oh, should we take it? It's Playboy, like, should we not? Blah blah blah. And then they take it in the end. I think they do.
Yeah, they do. I think they were like, fuck it. Like.
Oh, of course, why would you not take it, man? Come on. God has dropped manna from heaven. You're just not gonna have it again.
As in.
So New York legalized abortion in 1970, ahead of the curve, all right? So this now changes things because women who can afford to go to New York, they fly to New York, get their abortion, they come back. So now it's just the poor women who can't afford to go to New York who are left to call Jane, and women of color especially. Also, remember before it was a case of, oh, you know, just pay as much as you can because you can cover the next person. There's no paying as much as you can anymore because all them man can afford to go to New York, get their abortions and come home. So it's, you know, there's really like a class issue between the patients and people in Jane, because now Jane, they're all white women, like what Foren said before, except for
middle class white women as well. Yeah,
exactly, except for Marie. And most of the patients are like women of color, poor, you know, like, you know, down and out. So now we have these protests and marches to legalize abortion everywhere else in America since they have in New York. And so we get back to the fact that people find out that Mike wasn't a doctor, but also to Mike's credit, he was doing a really good job. But then also, if this normal non-doctor guy can do an abortion, then maybe we, the women, could also do abortions. So the Janes are now in two camps. Some are like, nope, absolutely not. Nope, we're not doctors, absolutely not. And then some are like, do you know what? Fuck it, like, let's do it. So Mike, the doctor / abortionist / not a doctor, teaches
construction worker
/ quirky uncle. He teaches them to do abortions the same way that he was taught to do abortions. So they're doing it, everything's going well, fine. Then we hear the story of this 19-year-old black lady. She comes in for an abortion, but clearly, like, she has something else going on. Like, I think she had an infection, so they just weren't going to do it.
I think she probably tried to do it herself.
Yeah, exactly, and then it flopped. And so they wanted to help her, but they were like, look, we can't do this abortion with what's going on, like, go to a hospital, blah blah blah. And they find out later that she after they say no, she runs away, she goes, right? She dies of septicemia, so infection of the blood. And so even though they didn't do the abortion, they felt like they could have maybe taken her to hospital rather than telling her to go. Like, maybe they could have been more present in trying to save her life. So that's kind of a bit of a downer for them. And then we get these two witches, that go to the police, and they're like, oh, you know, my sister-in-law says that she's going to have an abortion.
But the sister-in-law too, why are you in this, like, current climate going and announcing?
Yeah.
It's not like, I'm going to go get Five Guys. Like, what are you doing, sis?
Yeah, it's true. But I reckon that also because I'm assuming she's married to their brother. Yeah, she's married to their brother. So this is their brother's baby. So they're thinking, oh, how are you going to kill my brother's baby?
Yeah, but either way, why were they telling people? You all know the kind of... Yeah.
It's true. She shouldn't have told them. Or maybe she found out. Maybe she overheard I don't know. There's many ways. Either way, they are the problem here, because they go to the police and they're like, oh, my sister-in-law is going to have an abortion. You should stop it because it's a sin. Yeah. And the homicide officer is like, bro, like, this is Chicago. Like, people are getting their eyes shot out, their arms blown off. People are being assaulted. And they show us
Chicago
pictures.
Then was crazy as well.
They're like, this is Chicago. Bitch, I'm from Chicago. Like they literally like
the Sha.
Why are you coming to me with this fucking abortion shit? Like, people are proper dying, like serious crimes.
People, fully formed human beings, like, are dying,
like,
and those that have never died are dying.
Living beings are dying, literally, and you're coming to me with this nonsense. So then, like, no one's trying to really investigate this shit, but then they have to call this officer, this chief, this somebody, and then they get told eventually that they have to investigate it.
And not only that, but they say the homicide unit has to do it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, for a bag of cells.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like, I'm so sorry.
Best. So this is how they find the Janes. Yeah. So they basically they follow the sister-in-law on her way out, and they ask. So also the sister-in-law. Sorry, back again to her. I'm like, girl, like. Anyway,
what is you doing?
Like, literally, like, they follow them into the place, and then there's like a lift, so they open the door. It's like stuff like a movie. They open the door, they're in suits and stuff, and they're like, oh, did you just have an abortion? And she starts crying, and she's like, yeah. I'm like, can't you just say, yeah, I had fillers, or I had some plastic surgery, or I
don't get it.
How did you break? Do you know what, she's not about it. Like, this is not her life, because
she was ill prepared.
First of all, you're telling the sister-in-laws about having the abortion. Second of all, you don't have a backstory.
Literally, like, oh, I went to get, like,
how can they prove that you've had an abortion? How can they prove that?
They're not going to go into your coochie, like, it's
how could
crazy.
They possibly prove that? And okay, maybe, like, how could they prove that? So we get conflicting information here. The police are like, oh, we didn't kick down the door. Everybody, absolutely everybody else that they interview is like, yeah, they kicked down the door. And they're trying to find the doctor. When they come in, they're like, where's the doctor performing these abortions? Like, they can't even fathom that a woman could be performing the abortions, because in the place there's only women. And they were like, you know, these were just ladies, and they, you know, were performing these abortions. Anyway, our driver, who takes people from the front to the place, her name is Judith. She gets arrested, and you know, I was telling you about the fact that they used to write the cards with all their information on it. The other Janes all start eating the cards with the information on it, because they didn't want they basically to bait out the people who wanted an abortion, because it had all their information, their name, their birth, addresses. And I'm like, surely you couldn't have burnt them? I don't know, like,
yeah, but if you're in the car, where are you going to find matches and stuff? You have to eat it.
Oh, were they in the car when they were eating
that them? Shit's gonna constipate you for ages, man. I was just
thinking that.
You're gonna need a serious chronic.
Whatever their ink was made of back then, is it not poisonous?
Fam.
But yeah, also Judith, the driver, she just had a baby herself, so she's still nursing. So her breasts are really painful. This reminded me of that story that you told me about your mum.
Oh yeah.
When the milk just got bare hard in her thing, and it was really painful. So quite a few of the other ladies get arrested. And the Janes, they're in jail, and they're like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, everyone here is mad. Like, they've been doing actual crimes, and we've just been trying to help people, you know? Like,
and these are hardened criminals.
These hardened criminal. Please, I was just out here, like, driving people from A to B, you know? So Judith acknowledges her privilege. She's white. She's a mum. She's married to a lawyer. She's a college graduate. And it works in her favour because they release her from jail on bail. and they each get charged with 11 counts each. So that's a maximum of 110 years for each of them for this.
That's crazy.
Right? Mate, they're starting to deep that, okay, this is actually very, very serious, yeah? Also, everyone in Chicago is against abortions. So it's whatever jury they get, like, it's not really going to bode well for them. Like, they're going down, yeah?
Yeah.
So they're trying to find lawyers. All the men lawyers they find are really condescending. But Marie, Black women save the day. Marie finds a female lawyer whose name is Joanne Wolfson. And initially she's like, fam, leave me alone with this bullshit. But Marie is like, listen, like, come on. We're like, you're my babe, you're my friend. Like, let's do it. So she does it. She does it for Marie. And she's represented Black Panthers before, which I reckon is how Marie knows her anyway.
Yeah.
So now it's the 22nd of January, 1973. And abortions are what? Legalized. Which means they could also be what? Safe. So because of that, they do what? No, I'm joking. Because of that, they drop the charges. And so no one goes to jail, right? So now the documentary is coming to a close, and it ends with on-screen text. Between 1968 and 1973, Jane provided about 11,000 safe, affordable, illegal abortions, which is amazing. After Roe v. Wade, Cook County Hospital closed their septic abortion ward. So that was the award where everyone was like trying to do their own abortions and like ended up dying or really dangerously ill and stuff. They didn't need it anymore because people were having safe abortions.
Getting it safe.
And so basically the women of Jane continue to live their lives and being the badass bitches that they are.
But one of them is dead.
Who's dead?
Didn't you clock that she must be dead? Jodie. That's why we never saw her.
Oh, in the real life.
We only saw the recording. She's dead. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh well, she left a proper legacy, man. She did good.
She's good. But no, that was it was good. It's on Sky. It's basically called a movie because it is movie length. It's like an hour 40 something minutes. But it was really good and interesting to watch, and it's something I never knew about. So yeah, it made my heart re-break for America because these women did all this work and
then for
helped
what?
other women for what? Like they moved forward and now we've taken 10 steps back. It's crazy.
Exactly. So now it's time for
the real crime, I think, was the beard.
Our segment where we focus on something during the documentary that may not be criminal, but we definitely consider to be a crime. Have you got one?
You go first.
So at first it was Dr. Howard's moustache because obviously like great man but weird moustache. And the second one I had was that like the sister-in-laws, like what the fuck was that? Do you not have anything to do? You don't have kids to look after? You don't have a job to do that you're going to report?
Help me ask them. Oh, mine was then just Mike. I thought you would have said him.
No, it's too obvious.
No, yeah.
I thought you didn't. So I thought you said that he was quirky.
Yeah, it was a quirk, but he was weird. So the quirkiness like was weird. The
quirk was quack.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like I remember when he said this line where he was like, "Oh, should a man that the Bible says a man should be paid his worth? Is that not true for an abortionist?" I was like, "Han."
I said, bro, why are you bringing God into this?
You are going to HE double hockey sticks.
Hockey sticks.
Stop it.
Double hockey sticks.
So yeah, but I mean, all in all, yeah, it was a good documentary.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend watching. It was great, very informative, and also quite triggering, but it's fine. Yeah. So next we're doing a credits episode.
Credits.
Oh, this one's gonna be so sad. We're gonna discuss Dear Zachary. I watched Dear Zachary, yeah.
And then she told me to watch it, and it really. And I
literally finished it, and I messaged Florence, and I was like, "Have you seen Dear Zachary?" And she was like, "No," and I was like, "Watch it right now."
No, but you know why I watched it? Because you said you cried.
Yeah.
I was like to my sister, "Oh, let's watch this," because BD said she cried, and if she cried, then it has to be deep. And I was watching it, and I was waiting for because I kept thinking I had clicked the wrong link because it was like a bit like happy kind of, and I was like,
"Listen to me."
And then
listen.
You know when you cry, you're like.
Yeah,
like that's how I was crying.
I literally. Do you know what?
No,
it's gonna be a credits in it. Why are we doing this now? So when I first watched it, I literally I hadn't even pressed stop when the thing ended. Yeah, I just took out my phone and made a TikTok because someone on TikTok told me, they were like, "Have you seen Dear Zachary?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Watch it." And then I watched it and I literally was like, "Nah."
Yeah,
this has to be a credits episode. Like it has to. Like I have so much to say.
There's so much. Yeah, there are no words.
There are 0 words. Do you know what? If you haven't watched Dear Zachary,
watch it.
I beg you, watch it before
the
credits.
You need
episode.
to watch it before the credits.
Watch it before the credits
time
episode.
I will tell you to do that. Watch it before the credits.
Don't let the credits episode be your first introduction to Dear Zachary.
No.
Only listen to the credits episode
if you
watch Dear Zachary.
Don't listen to watch it. You need to watch it so you understand. Because if you don't watch it, you won't understand what the emotions.
Yeah, and also the credits is not like recapping the documentary. The credits is like just discussing
the case and everything. Like
literally what the fuck. So please. And I think apparently someone was saying that it's on YouTube. I did, I just typed it into Google and found what I found. But apparently it's on YouTube, so you can watch it on there as well. So it shouldn't be an effort to find. But I'm begging you and your mother and your father, watch it and then listen to the credits.
Yeah, watch it.
Yeah.
Alright, my mummy just called me, so I'm gonna go speak to her.
Wow, okay, well, in the meantime, between time, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, on 2girls1doc, at 2girls1doc, and then on TikTok, at 2girls1doc podcast, and share with a friend. If you're still here, rate us on Spotify, rate us on Apple Podcasts, send a review, and yeah, just because it helps people find us, and then everyone can enjoy the podcast just like you do, which I suppose you do because you're still here listening to me go on and on. So until next time, there's not going to be a trailer this week because obviously it's the credits next week. So that's it. Anything else from you, friends?
No.
Right, then.
You said it all.
Alrighty then, bye.
Bye.